Last year, about one-third of the United States was officially in drought. If you gardened anywhere in the West, Midwest, or Southeast, you probably don't need a government report to confirm that. But I've linked the source anyway in this video's description. Nobody can predict exactly how the 2026 growing season will go. But if I were a betting person, I'd say it's time for a little insurance. Not the kind you buy from an agent. I don't think that product exists yet. I mean, plant insurance. The simplest way to protect yourself is to make sure at least some of what you grow can handle heat and dry spells without constant watering. Here's the good news. You can enjoy plenty of variety by selecting drought-tolerant garden vegetables to grow. In this video, I'm going to walk through 5 good choices, and 2 of them may be more common than you think, assuming you've ever been introduced to them at all. I'll also share a few practical tips for hardening your garden against drought and its frequent companion, extreme heat. Plus, I've linked a couple of related videos on garden protection and backup water strategies in the description. Let's get started with the sweet potatoes because almost everybody likes them and already has a favorite way to cook them. They're more than just a side dish. They show up in everything from fancy holiday recipes to full-on struggle meals. Like potatoes, you can boil them, mash them, bake them, or fry them up in a pan. Water moderately to get them started, but once sweet potatoes send down strong roots, they can usually cope on their own pretty well. And here's their real advantage. They create their own ground cover. Those vines help retain soil moisture and shade the soil during extreme heat. Here's something you might not know. You can also saute and eat the nutritious leaves, which some people compare to a milder version of spinach or kale. If you watched my earlier video on prepping your garden against extreme weather, you already know that shade can be more important than water during hot droughts. And if you're into this kind of practical, no-drama gardening, subscribing to this channel is free. Next up is okra, which I know immediately divides people, usually because of texture, which isn't a problem with some cooking methods like frying or roasting. And there's a reason okra shows up over and over again in hot climates, from the southern US to India. It doesn't just tolerate heat, it likes it. Okra has deep roots, handles hot nights well, and keeps producing when a lot of other vegetables slow down or give up. Like sweet potatoes, okra needs regular water while it's getting established. After that, it's surprisingly self-sufficient. And if you keep harvesting the pods while they're young, the plant just keeps producing. Whether you like it stewed, fried, grilled, or dropped into gumbo, okra earns its place in a drought-tolerant garden by being productive when conditions aren't ideal. Black-eyed peas, also known as cowpeas, are another plant that gets labeled as regional food. They're associated with southern cooking for a reason. Not nostalgia, but climate. These plants evolved to handle heat, inconsistent rainfall, and less than perfect soil. Once established, black-eyed peas need very little water. They're also nitrogen fixers, which means they actually improve the soil as they grow. Some people only think about them around New Year's, but they're a solid, reliable crop that produces both fresh pods and dried peas. And they do it without demanding much attention. So they're an excellent side dish that's also a good protein source. So they can take center stage in vegetarian or vegan meals. The next plant is less familiar to a lot of people, amaranth. You may have seen it as an ornamental, tall plant with dramatic seed heads, without realizing it's also edible. Amaranth leaves can be cooked like spinach, but they handle heat far better. When cooler weather greens bolt or turn bitter, amaranth keeps producing. It's been grown for thousands of years in hot, dry regions for exactly that reason. It doesn't need perfect soil. It doesn't need constant watering. And it doesn't panic when summer shows up early. The last plant on the list is purslane, and this one surprises almost everyone, because many people have pulled it out of their garden without knowing what it was. Purslane is a low-growing plant with thick, succulent leaves. That's your clue right there. It stores water. It thrives in heat, tolerates drought, and often grows where nothing else will. It's edible, mildly lemony, and can be eaten raw or lightly cooked. More importantly for this conversation, it requires very little water to survive. If a plant is happily growing in sidewalk cracks, it probably doesn't need daily irrigation. None of these plants make drought disappear, but choosing a few crops that don't fight you during hot, dry spells is one of the easiest ways to make a garden more resilient. If you decide to include a few of your fussier favorites, I suggest splitting your garden into sections. That way you can focus your water and shade resources where they're needed the most. I've linked a couple of related videos below on garden design, shade, and backup water strategies if you want to go deeper. Even small choices, like mixing in a few drought tolerant vegetables, can make a noticeable difference over a long, hot, dry summer. If you've got any dry and hot weather gardening tips, I'd love to see them in the comments. If you feel like it, I also appreciate it when you subscribe to this channel and like this video. Your support helps keep us connected and keep me motivated. Until we meet again, happy gardening.